My daughter has 23 days marked on her calendar. She says that's when everyone needs to say goodbye to mommy. I found the calendar this morning while putting away my daughter's laundry. It was hidden under her bed, a cheap dollar store calendar with kittens on it. Every day from today, backwards, had been crossed out in red marker. 23 days remained unmarked, leading to a single date circled so many times the paper had torn through. Above that date, in my 7-year-old Harper's careful handwriting, "Goodbye, Mommy Day." Below it, in smaller letters that made my hands shake, "Everyone has to be there. No crying allowed." I'm standing in Harper's room right now, holding this calendar while my wife Natalie makes breakfast downstairs, completely unaware that our daughter has apparently scheduled her death for 3 weeks from now. The house smells like coffee and pancakes. I can hear Harper laughing at something Natalie said. Normal Saturday morning sounds that suddenly feel like they're coming from another lifetime, because Harper has never been wrong about anything like this before, and that terrifies me more than I can explain. 6 months ago, Harper told her grandmother not to wear her blue dress to church because something bad happens with stairs in that dress. My mother-in-law laughed it off, wore the dress anyway, and fell down the church steps 20 minutes later, breaking her ankle in 2 places. Harper cried for an hour afterward, saying she'd tried to warn her. We thought it was coincidence, the kind of thing kids do where they say 100 random things and parents only remember the one that happened to come true. But then, it happened again. Harper told her teacher, Miss Okoye, not to drive home the usual way, because the bad truck is on that road. Miss Okoye took her normal route and was hit by a drunk driver in a pickup truck. She survived, but spent 3 days in the hospital. When Harper heard about it, she whispered, "I told her, why don't they listen?" That's when Natalie and I started keeping notes, started writing down every strange thing Harper said. The client I shouldn't meet with who turned out to be running a scam, the neighbor whose house flooded exactly when Harper said it would, the school assembly that got canceled because of a gas leak, which Harper had told us to skip 3 days before anyone knew there was a problem. 23 predictions in 6 months, 23 accurate outcomes, not vague prophecies that could be interpreted different ways, but specific details that came true exactly as Harper described them. The red truck, the Thursday afternoon timing, the exact step her grandmother would fall on. A 7-year-old shouldn't know these things. No one should know these things. But Harper does, and now she's counting down to my wife's death like it's a school field trip. I hear footsteps on the stairs and shove the calendar under Harper's pillow. Natalie appears in the doorway with her coffee, smiling. "There you are. Harper wants to know if we can go to the park after breakfast." She looks so alive, so normal, standing there in her weekend clothes with her hair in a messy bun. In 23 days, Harper believes she'll be gone. I force myself to smile back and say yes. The park sounds great, but my hands won't stop shaking. Natalie notices. "You okay? You look pale." I tell her I'm fine, just didn't sleep well. She kisses my forehead and heads back downstairs. I pull the calendar back out and stare at that circled date, trying to make sense of how a child could know something like this, trying to convince myself there's a rational explanation, even though I've spent 6 months watching rational explanations fall apart. Harper is sitting at the kitchen table when I come down, syrup on her chin, looking completely normal. "Morning, Daddy." I sit down next to her and very casually ask what the calendar under her bed is about. She doesn't even pause chewing. "That's for keeping track of the days until Mommy has to go away." Natalie turns from the stove, spatula in hand. "What?" Harper takes another bite of pancakes. "I've been counting down. 23 more days until goodbye day. I wanted to make sure I didn't lose track." Her voice is matter-of-fact, like she's discussing a dentist appointment. Natalie's face goes pale. She walks over and kneels beside Harper's chair. "Sweetie, what do you mean Mommy has to go away?" Harper looks at her with these ancient, sad eyes that don't belong in a 7-year-old's face. "You know, the thing that happens at the fancy party, where everyone is dressed up and there's purple decorations and you're wearing the sparkly red dress. The thing where you fall down and everyone cries and you don't get back up." The kitchen goes completely silent, except for the clock ticking on the wall. Natalie's hands are shaking as she sets down the spatula. "Harper, that's not funny. Where did you hear about that?" Harper isn't smiling. "I didn't hear about it. I see it. In my dreams. I've been seeing it since I was really little, but now I can see it better. I know exactly when it happens." She points at the calendar I'm still holding. "That day, that's goodbye day." Natalie looks at me, her eyes filling with tears. "This isn't happening. She's just being dramatic. Kids say things like this." But I can see the fear in her face because she knows what I know. Harper has never been wrong. Every weird thing she's said has come true. Every warning has been accurate, and now she's warning us about this. Harper reaches across the table and takes Natalie's hand. "It's okay, Mommy. I'm not scared anymore. I was scared before, but now I've had time to get ready. I've been taking pictures so I don't forget your smile. And I've been keeping some of your things safe so I can remember how you smell like vanilla." Tears are running down her face now, but her voice stays calm. "I just need you to know I tried really hard to stop it. I tried to change it by being extra good and loving you extra hard. But I can't change anything. I can only see what's coming." Natalie grabs Harper and pulls her into a tight hug, both of them crying now. I sit there frozen, watching my family fall apart over something that hasn't happened yet, something that might not even be real. But the calendar in my hands feels heavy as a death certificate. 23 days, 3 weeks. I do the math in my head and realize what Harper is talking about. Natalie has the school gala in 3 weeks. The fancy fundraiser at the Riverside Hotel, purple and gold theme. She bought a red sequined dress for it last month. Harper shouldn't know these details. We never discussed the gala in front of her, never mentioned the colors or the dress, but she knows. She always knows. Natalie pulls back from Harper, wiping tears. Baby, listen to me. I'm not going anywhere. Sometimes we have bad dreams that feel real, but they're not real. Do you understand? Harper nods slowly. I understand you don't believe me. That's okay, but it's still going to happen. I'm sorry, Mommy. She gets up from the table and goes to her room, leaving her half-eaten pancakes. Natalie turns to me, mascara running down her face. Tell me you don't believe this. Tell me our daughter is not predicting my death. I want to tell her that. Want to dismiss it as childhood imagination or anxiety or something explainable, but I can't. I show her my phone, the notes I've been keeping for 6 months, every prediction Harper has made, the dates, the details, the outcomes. Natalie reads through them, her face getting whiter with each entry. This is just coincidence. Confirmation bias. We're remembering the hits and forgetting the misses. I ask her to name one miss. One time, Harper predicted something specific that didn't come true. She can't, because there aren't any. Not for the big things, not for the dangerous things. Harper gets small details wrong sometimes, like whether it will rain or what we'll have for dinner, but she's never been wrong about the things that matter. Never been wrong about accidents or injuries or danger. And now she's saying Natalie will die in 23 days at an event that matches every detail Harper described. Natalie sits down hard in a kitchen chair. So what do we do? I just don't go to the gala. I hide in the house that night and hope that changes things? That seems like a reasonable start. And what about the next event? And the one after that? Do we just stop living because a 7-year-old had a nightmare? I don't have an answer for that. We sit in silence for a long time, the pancakes getting cold on the table, until Natalie finally says, we need to call Harper's therapist. We'd started taking Harper to see Dr. Patricia Odom 3 months ago when the predictions started affecting Harper's sleep. Dr. Odom had diagnosed generalized anxiety disorder with obsessive features, prescribed low-dose medication, and worked with Harper on cognitive behavioral techniques. It had seemed to help for a while. Harper had stopped talking about her predictions constantly, seemed calmer, slept better. We'd thought we were making progress, but now I realize Harper hadn't stopped having the visions. She'd just stopped sharing them with us. She'd been counting down to this day in private, marking off her calendar in secret, preparing for Natalie's death without telling us because she knew we wouldn't believe her. Dr. Odom agrees to see us that afternoon, emergency session. We bring Harper in, and she sits on the familiar couch with the stuffed animals, swinging her legs like this is just another regular appointment. Dr. Odom asks her gently about the calendar, about what she thinks is going to happen. Harper explains it all again patiently, like she's done 100 times. The fancy party, the purple decorations, Mommy in the red dress, falling down, not getting up, goodbye day. Dr. Odom takes notes, her professional expression never changing. When Harper finishes, she asks, and you're certain this is going to happen? Harper nods, the same way I was certain about Grandma's fall and Miss Okoye's accident and Daddy's bad client. I see it before it happens. Dr. Odom explains to Harper that sometimes our brains play tricks on us, that we can feel very certain about things that aren't real, especially when we're worried or scared. Harper listens politely, then says, I know you don't believe me. Nobody ever believes me until it happens. That's okay. You'll see in 23 days. After Harper goes to the waiting room, Dr. Odom talks to us privately. Harper is experiencing what we call crystallized delusional thinking. She's become convinced of a false narrative and incorporates any new information to fit that narrative. The predictions that came true were likely coincidences or vague statements that she's now reinterpreting as accurate. The anxiety medication isn't working as well as we'd hoped. She recommends increasing Harper's dosage, adding a mood stabilizer, and implementing strict behavioral protocols. Whenever Harper mentions her predictions, we redirect immediately to positive activities. We remove anything that enables the delusion, like the calendar. We do not engage with the content of her predictions at all. Natalie asks what happens if we do all that, and Harper is still convinced something will happen. Dr. Odom's face gets serious. Then we may need to consider inpatient evaluation. This level of fixation in a child this young is concerning. If she's genuinely suffering from persistent delusions, she may need more intensive treatment than outpatient therapy can provide. The thought of Harper in a psychiatric facility makes my stomach turn, but I understand what Dr. Odom is saying. If a 7-year-old is obsessing over her mother's death to the point of keeping countdown calendars and collecting belongings as keepsakes, that's not healthy, regardless of whether the predictions have been accurate. We agree to try the new medication and behavioral protocols. That night, while Harper sleeps, Natalie and I remove everything from her room that references the gala or anything about goodbyes. We find the calendar, a box of Natalie's jewelry and scarves hidden in the closet. Dozens of photos Harper has printed of Natalie doing ordinary things, cooking, reading, laughing. Each photo has a date on the back in Harper's handwriting. For remembering Mommy's smile. For remembering how Mommy laughs. For remembering Mommy's voice. It's like finding a shrine to someone who hasn't died yet. Natalie breaks down looking at the photos. She's been planning for this, preparing for my death like it's inevitable. She looks at me with tear-stained cheeks. What if she's right? What if something happens to me at that gala? I tell her nothing is going to happen, that will prove Harper wrong, that this will be the thing that breaks the pattern and helps Harper understand her visions aren't real. But even as I say it, I'm calculating odds in my head. 23 accurate predictions. What are the chances of 24? What are the chances Harper is wrong this time when she's never been wrong before? We implement Dr. Odom's protocols strictly. Every time Harper mentions Mommy going away or goodbye day or anything related, we immediately redirect. Let's not talk about that right now. How about we read a book instead? Or, those thoughts aren't helpful. Let's go outside and play. Harper stops mentioning it after a few days, but I can see it in her eyes. She's still counting down, still preparing, just doing it silently now. A week passes, 16 days until the gala. Harper seems better on the surface, more engaged, sleeping through the night. Dr. Odom says the new medication is working, that the behavioral protocols are helping Harper learn to manage her anxious thoughts. But I catch Harper staring at Natalie sometimes with this look of desperate memorization, like she's trying to photograph every moment. She asks questions that seem innocent, but aren't. Mommy, what's your favorite memory of me? Daddy, after I grow up, will you tell me stories about Mommy? Questions that sound like preparation for loss. Natalie pretends not to notice, keeps up her cheerful routine, but I see the fear in her eyes every time Harper asks something like that. 14 days until the gala. Natalie comes home from a committee meeting with updates about the event. The venue is confirmed, the Riverside Hotel Ballroom. Purple and gold decorations are ordered. The 80s cover band is booked. Expected attendance is around 150 people. Dinner at 7, dancing at 8. She shows me her dress hanging in the closet, the red sequined one that sparkles under the light. Everything Harper described is coming together exactly as she said. I suggest Natalie skip the gala. She's been working so hard she deserves a night off. I'm on the planning committee, she reminds me. I can't skip my own event. Besides, we talked about this. If I start avoiding things because of Harper's predictions, we're enabling her delusion. The only way to break this cycle is to live normally and let her see that nothing happens. She's right logically. But logic doesn't comfort me at 3 a.m. when I wake up checking if Natalie is still breathing. Doesn't help when I see Harper drawing pictures of a woman in a red dress surrounded by purple balloons lying on the ground. Harper draws these pictures constantly now, hides them under her mattress where she thinks we won't find them. Each one is dated. Each one shows the same scene from slightly different angles. 10 days until the gala. Harper's teacher calls us in for a conference. Miss Wilson shows us a drawing Harper made in art class. A woman in a red dress at a party. Purple and gold balloons everywhere. People standing in a circle around the woman who's lying on the ground. At the top of the page, Harper has written a date. The date of the gala. I need to ask, Miss Wilson says carefully, is there something happening at home that would make Harper fixate on her mother's death? Any domestic issues or health concerns I should know about? Natalie assures her, everything is fine. Harper is in therapy for anxiety. This is part of her condition. Miss Wilson nods but makes notes in Harper's file. I'm required to document this. If the concerning behavior continues, we may need to involve Child Protective Services. After we leave, Natalie is furious. This is getting out of control. Harper's delusion is affecting her at school now. She's going to end up in state custody if this continues. She turns to me. We need to do something drastic. We need to break her out of this fantasy before it destroys our family. What do you suggest? We go to the gala. We have a great time. Nothing happens. And Harper is forced to confront the fact that her vision was wrong. That's the only way to snap her out of this. I argue against it, but Natalie is resolute. She's going to the gala. She's going to prove Harper wrong. She's going to save our daughter by refusing to participate in her delusion. I understand her reasoning, but can't shake the feeling we're making a terrible mistake. 8 days until the gala. I hire a private investigator without telling Natalie. Give him all the details about the event and ask him to identify any potential threats, security vulnerabilities, structural issues with the venue, background checks on attendees, anything that could cause harm. He charges me $2,500 and delivers a report showing nothing concerning. The hotel is up to code, the guest list is screened, the caterer is licensed, the band is insured. No red flags anywhere. The PI asks if I have a specific threat in mind. I tell him no, just being cautious. He gives me a look that says he thinks I'm paranoid but takes my money anyway. The report should make me feel better. It doesn't. Harper's predictions have never been about things you can background check or security sweep. They're about moments that seem impossible to foresee. Random accidents that come out of nowhere. How do you prepare for something like that? 6 days until the gala. Harper comes into our bedroom at 2 a.m. We wake up to find her standing beside the bed in her pajamas, just staring at us in the dark. When I turn on the light, She's crying silently. I can't sleep, she whispers. Every time I close my eyes, I see it happening. What do you see, baby? Mommy is at the party. Everyone is happy. Then she makes this sound like she can't breathe, and she falls, and everyone is screaming, and there's an ambulance, but it's too late. Her voice breaks. I don't want to see it anymore, Daddy. I don't want to know. Can you make it stop? I hold her while she sobs. Tell her it's just a bad dream, that Mommy is fine, that nothing bad is going to happen. She looks up at me with tears streaming down her face. Why don't you believe me? I've been right every time, every single time. Why won't anyone believe me about this? Because the alternative is accepting that our 7-year-old can see the future, and my wife is going to die in less than a week, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I can't accept that. So I tell Harper what every adult has told her for 6 months, that she's having bad dreams, that her brain is playing tricks on her, that everything will be okay. She looks at me with something like pity. You'll see, Daddy. On goodbye day, you'll see. She goes back to her room, and I sit there in the dark next to Natalie, both of us pretending to sleep but actually just counting down the hours. 4 days until the gala. Natalie finds me looking at her life insurance policy. She asks what I'm doing, and I tell her just updating our files. She knows I'm lying. You think she's right, Natalie says quietly. You think I'm going to die. I tell her, of course not. I'm just being thorough. If you really believed that, you'd do something. You'd lock me in the house. You'd cancel the gala by force. She sits down next to me. The reason you're not doing those things is because you know Harper is wrong. You know she's a little girl with anxiety, not a fortune teller. You're just scared because her past predictions make this one feel more real than it is. She takes my hand. I'm going to the gala. I'm going to be fine. And we're going to use this as a teaching moment for Harper about the difference between fear and reality. I want to believe her, want to trust that logic and reason will prevail. But I've spent 6 months watching logic fail in the face of Harper's impossible knowledge. 2 days until the gala. Harper stops eating, says her stomach hurts, that she feels sick thinking about what's coming. Natalie takes her to the pediatrician who finds nothing physically wrong. It's anxiety, the doctor says. The medication should be helping, but sometimes breakthrough symptoms occur during particularly stressful periods. The doctor doesn't know Harper is counting down to her mother's death, doesn't know this isn't generalized anxiety but specific, detailed dread about an event she claims to have seen 100 times in her dreams. Harper has lost 6 pounds in 2 weeks. Her eyes have dark circles under them. She looks like someone being tortured by knowledge they can't escape. That night, Harper asks to sleep in our bed. We let her climb between us, and she immediately curls up against Natalie, breathing deeply. I'm trying to remember how you smell, she whispers. Vanilla and home. I don't want to forget. Natalie strokes her hair, fighting back tears. Baby, you're not going to forget anything because I'm not going anywhere. Harper doesn't argue, just closes her eyes and holds onto Natalie like she's memorizing the feeling of her mother's arms. I lie awake on the other side, watching them, thinking about the calendar that counted down to this weekend, thinking about all the predictions that came true, thinking about the private investigator's report that showed no threats, thinking about Dr. Odom's protocols that were supposed to help but clearly haven't, thinking about what I'll do if Harper is right, if tomorrow night Natalie goes to a gala and doesn't come home. One day, until the gala. The morning has this surreal quality, like we're all play-acting normalcy while waiting for something terrible. Natalie makes pancakes. Harper pushes them around her plate without eating. I drink coffee and pretend to read the news, but I'm actually just watching the clock. Hours passing, time running out. At noon, Harper asks if she can give Mommy a present. It's not my birthday? Natalie says, confused. I know, but I want to give you something now. Before. Before what? Harper doesn't answer, just runs to her room and comes back with a drawing. It's different from the others. This one shows Natalie and Harper together, smiling, holding hands, surrounded by hearts and flowers and sunshine. This is for you to remember that I love you, Harper says. No matter what happens, I want you to know I love you the most. Natalie starts crying and pulls Harper into a hug. I love you too, baby. So much. They stay like that for a long time, holding each other, and I take a picture because Harper is right about one thing. We should have photos of these moments, should have ways to remember what this felt like when we were all together and safe. At 3 p.m., Natalie starts getting ready for the gala. She does her makeup carefully, styles her hair, puts on the red sequined dress that sparkles under the bathroom light. She looks beautiful and terrified. Harper watches from the doorway as Natalie gets ready. You look pretty, Mommy. Thank you, sweetie. Will you take a picture with me in that dress? They pose together, and I take a dozen photos. Harper smiling, but her eyes are sad. Natalie smiling, but her eyes are scared. Both of them trying to be brave for each other while I stand behind the camera, feeling helpless. At 5 p.m., Natalie is ready to leave. She has to be there early to help with final setup. Harper grabs her hand before she can walk out the door. Mommy, can you promise me something? Anything, baby. Promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you'll pay attention if anything feels wrong. Promise me you'll call Daddy if you need help. Natalie kneels down to Harper's level. I promise, but nothing is going to feel wrong because nothing bad is going to happen. You'll see. Tomorrow morning I'll wake you up with pancakes and we'll laugh about how worried we all were for no reason. Harper nods, but doesn't look convinced. I love you, Mommy. I love you so much. I love you too, Harper. Always and forever. They hug for a long time, neither one wanting to let go. Finally, Natalie kisses the top of Harper's head and walks out the door. I watch through the window as she gets in her car and drives away. Harper stands beside me, her small hand in mine. It's happening tonight, she whispers. In a few hours, goodbye day will be real. I tell her Mommy will be fine. She looks up at me with those knowing eyes. We should turn on the news later. They'll talk about it. It'll be a big story because lots of important people are there. Harper and I spend the evening in forced normalcy. We make dinner together, watch a movie, play board games. But Harper's eyes keep drifting to the clock. At 6:45, she asks if we can call Mommy. I dial Natalie's number and put it on speaker. She answers, and I can hear music and voices in the background. The gala is in full swing. Hey, sweetie, having a good time with Daddy? Harper's voice shakes. Mommy, where are you right now? I'm in the ballroom. The party just started. Why? What's it look like? There's purple and gold decorations everywhere. It looks beautiful. The band is warming up. And you're wearing the red dress? Yes, baby, remember? You saw me leave in it. And there's lots of people? About 100 so far, with more arriving. Harper, what's this about? Harper grips my hand so tight it hurts. Mommy, I need you to listen very carefully. If you start feeling strange, like dizzy or like your chest hurts, you need to call an ambulance right away. Don't wait. Don't think you're fine. Just call immediately. Promise me. Natalie's voice gets tight. Harper, we talked about this. You need to stop worrying. I'm perfectly healthy, and I'm going to be perfectly fine. But Harper won't let it go. Please, Mommy, just promise me. If anything feels wrong, you'll get help right away. I promise, baby. Now I need to go. The principal is about to make a speech. I love you. I love you too, Mommy. So much. Remember that. No matter what. Harper hangs up and looks at me with tears streaming down her face. It happens soon. Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe 30. We should turn on the TV. Someone will report it. What are you talking about? When something big happens, it's on the news. Mommy is important. Lots of people are there. They'll want to talk about it. I try to distract Harper with more games, more TV shows, anything to keep her mind off this impossible prediction. But she just sits on the couch, staring at the wall, waiting. The clock on the wall ticks towards 7:30. Harper gets up suddenly and turns on the TV, flips to the local news. Nothing but regular programming. She sits back down, fidgeting with her hands. I text Natalie. Everything okay? She responds immediately. Great. About to sit down for dinner. Everyone's having a wonderful time, see? I show Harper the text. Mommy's fine. The gala is going perfectly. Nothing bad is happening. Harper reads the text and shakes her head. Not yet, but soon. At 7:42 p.m., my phone rings. Unknown number. I answer and hear chaos in the background. Screaming, crying, someone shouting for people to move back. Is this David Kirkland? A man's voice asks. Yes, who is this? This is Detective Lawrence Hartwell with the police department. Your wife has collapsed at the Riverside Hotel. An ambulance is en route. You need to get here immediately. The phone slips from my hand. Harper is standing in front of me, her face white. It happened. I told you it would happen. We need to go to the hospital. That's where they take Mommy. I grab my keys with shaking hands. Call Natalie's phone, but it goes to voicemail. Call the hotel and get transferred 5 times before someone tells me yes, there was a medical emergency, a woman collapsed, paramedics are on scene. Harper is already putting on her shoes. We have to hurry, Daddy, but it's too late. She's already gone. I want to scream at her that she's wrong, that Natalie will be fine, that this is all just a terrible coincidence, but I can't speak, can't think. Can only grab Harper's hand and run for the car. We drive to Riverside Hospital in silence. Harper stares out the window, tears running down her face. I'm sorry, Daddy. I tried to stop it. I tried so hard. When we get to the ER, a nurse meets us at the entrance. Are you Natalie Kirkland's family? Yes. Where is she? What happened? The nurse's expression tells me everything before she says a word. I'm so sorry. Your wife experienced a sudden cardiac event at the gala. Paramedics initiated CPR immediately and continued emergency protocols in transit. The doctors did everything possible, but she didn't respond to treatment. She was pronounced dead at 8:11 p.m. The words don't make sense. Natalie is 32 years old. She runs 3 miles every morning. Had a physical last month and was perfectly healthy. People like her don't just die suddenly for no reason. The nurse leads us to a private room. Explains that the medical examiner will do an autopsy to determine cause of death, but preliminary assessment suggests an undiagnosed cardiac arrhythmia, something in her heart's electrical system that failed without warning, a condition she was born with that never showed symptoms until tonight. It's extremely rare, the nurse says. Happens to about 1 in 50,000 people. There's no way to predict it or prevent it. I'm so sorry for your loss. Harper is sitting in a chair, completely still, tears running down her face but not making a sound. I ask if I can see Natalie. The nurse says yes, but warns me about what to expect. She'll look like she's sleeping, but she won't be. She's gone. I know because I saw it already, in my dreams, 100 times. She's gone, and she's not coming back. Harper stays in the waiting room while I go into the room where they've taken Natalie. She's lying on a gurney, the red dress still on, her makeup still perfect. She looks exactly like Harper said she would, like she's sleeping, but her chest isn't moving. Her skin is the wrong color, and when I touch her hand, it's already cold. I break down completely, fall apart in that sterile hospital room, holding my wife's lifeless hand, unable to comprehend how we went from normal Saturday morning pancakes to this in less than 12 hours, how my 7-year-old daughter predicted this exact scenario, and I did nothing to stop it, except there was nothing I could have done. An undiagnosed cardiac arrhythmia, no symptoms, no warning. Just a heart that stopped beating at exactly 7:42 p.m. at a gala with purple and gold decorations, while she wore a red sequined dress, exactly as Harper had seen. I don't know how long I stay in that room. Eventually, a nurse comes to tell me I need to go, that they need to prepare Natalie for the medical examiner. I stumble back to the waiting room where Harper is sitting exactly where I left her. She looks up at me, and I see she already knows. It happened like I saw it. She's gone. Yes, baby. She's gone. I tried to warn everyone. Nobody believed me. I know. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Harper starts crying then, not the silent tears from before, but deep, racking sobs. I don't want this power, Daddy. I don't want to see things before they happen. I tried to stop it and I couldn't, and now Mommy is dead, and it's my fault for not trying harder. I hold her while she cries, both of us falling apart in a hospital waiting room, while other families walk past, living their normal lives where children don't predict death and wives don't die at galas. We go home at midnight. The house is exactly as we left it. Board games still on the coffee table, TV still on, everything frozen in time from before our lives shattered. Harper goes straight to her room and comes back with the box of things she'd collected. Natalie's jewelry, her scarves, her favorite coffee mug. I saved these for us, so we could remember her. We sit on the couch and go through the items. Each one has a memory attached. The necklace Natalie wore on our first date. The scarf she had on at Harper's preschool graduation. The mug she drank from every morning while reading the news. Harper had been preparing for this loss while Natalie and I convinced ourselves it wouldn't happen. Had been gathering pieces of her mother to hold on to after she was gone. I have pictures too, Harper says quietly. She shows me dozens of photos. Natalie cooking, laughing, reading to Harper before bed. Each one dated with Harper's notes. For remembering Mommy's smile. For remembering Mommy's laugh. For remembering Mommy's bedtime voice. Over the following days, people start to understand what happened. The autopsy confirms sudden cardiac death from long QT syndrome, a genetic condition that affects heart rhythm. No symptoms until it kills you. The medical examiner says there was nothing anyone could have done. No test would have caught it without specific genetic screening that isn't done routinely. Natalie was walking around with a loaded gun in her chest and none of us knew. But Harper knew. Somehow, impossibly, Harper had seen exactly how and when and where Natalie would die. Predicted it down to the purple decorations and the red dress and the time of death. At the funeral, Harper doesn't cry. Sits quietly in the front row wearing the dark blue dress Natalie had bought her for holidays, holding my hand, watching her mother's casket with those ancient eyes. People keep telling me how strong Harper is being, how brave. They don't understand she's already done her grieving. Spent 6 months preparing for this, trying to warn us, trying to change what she knew was coming. Miss Wilson pulls me aside after the service. I owe you an apology. When Harper was drawing those pictures, I thought it was concerning behavior, but she was just processing something she somehow knew was going to happen. I've never seen anything like it. She pauses. Has Harper always had this ability? I tell her about the predictions, the warnings, the 23 accurate outcomes before Natalie's death. Miss Wilson looks troubled. You should document this. Talk to researchers who study this kind of thing. Harper is extraordinary. I don't want Harper to be extraordinary. I want her to be normal, to not carry the burden of seeing death before it comes, but it's too late for normal. Harper has this gift or curse or whatever it is, and now I have to figure out how to help her live with it. 3 weeks after the funeral, Harper starts talking about her predictions again. Asks if I remember when I ignored her warning about the client, about Miss Okoye's accident. You believe me now though, right, Daddy? Now that you saw it happen with Mommy? Yes, baby. I believe you. Good, because I need to tell you about something else I've been seeing. My blood runs cold. What do you mean? Harper pulls out a new calendar. This one has different dates marked, farther in the future. It's not as bad as Mommy, she says quickly, seeing my face. Nobody dies, but there's going to be a fire at my school in 89 days, in the art room. Everyone gets out okay, but a boy named Preston breaks his leg running down the stairs. She shows me detailed drawings. The art room engulfed in flames. Kids evacuating. A boy falling on the stairs. If we warn them now, maybe they can stop the fire from starting. Maybe we can save Preston's leg. That's why I have to tell you, so we can change things, this time. I look at my 7-year-old daughter, who tried to save her mother and couldn't, now trying to prevent the next disaster she's seen in her dreams. Who has to live with this impossible knowledge? this burden of seeing suffering before it happens. I take the calendar and the drawings. Tell Harper we'll warn the school. We'll do everything we can to prevent what she's seen. She looks relieved. Thank you for believing me, Daddy. I know it's scary, but I can't stop seeing things. They just come to me. And if I can see them, maybe I can help stop them. Maybe that's why I have this power. Maybe it is. Or maybe Harper is just a little girl whose brain works in ways we don't understand, who processes information differently, who sees patterns that lead to accurate predictions. I don't know. I don't understand how any of this works. All I know is my daughter has this ability, and we both have to learn to live with it. That night, I find Harper in her room drawing again. More predictions, more dates, more disasters she's seen coming. It never stops, she whispers. Every night when I sleep, I see new things, bad things that are going to happen to people. And I try to warn them, but nobody ever believes me until it's too late. I sit beside her on the bed. We'll make them believe you. We'll document everything you see, build a track record that's impossible to dismiss, and we'll do everything we can to prevent the things you predict. Harper leans against me. Do you think Mommy knows I tried to save her? That I really, really tried? I'm sure she knows, baby. I'm sure she understands. I miss her so much. Even though I knew she was going to go away, I miss her anyway. Me too. We sit there in the darkness, both of us missing Natalie, both of us trying to figure out how to move forward in a world where my daughter sees death coming, and all we can do is try to warn people who won't believe us until it's too late. Harper has started a new drawing. I ask what she's working on. She shows me. It's a picture of the two of us, holding hands, standing under a sunny sky. Above us, she's written in careful letters, "Me and Daddy. We're going to be okay." I ask how she knows that. She smiles sadly. Because I've seen it, far in the future. We're okay. We're sad for a long time, but we're okay. For the first time since I found that calendar 23 days ago, I feel something like hope. Not happiness, not peace, but hope. Hope that Harper and I will survive this. Hope that we'll figure out how to live with her gift. Hope that maybe, sometimes, her visions show good things too. Not just disasters to prevent, but futures worth reaching for. I hold her close and thank her for seeing that, for knowing we'll be okay even when I can't see it myself. And we sit there together in her room, surrounded by drawings of futures that haven't happened yet, trying to find our way forward in a world that changed forever on Goodbye Day. Thanks for hanging out until the end. If you want more stories, make sure to subscribe and leave your take below.